Hello and welcome to Nutshell Recaps. This video explains the synopsis of the movie. It follows. Warning, there will be spoilers, so proceed with caution. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. It will really help our channel grow. In a quiet suburban neighborhood where the film opens, a small girl suddenly takes off running. As she crosses the street, she appears to be attempting to get away from someone since she is constantly looking over her shoulder. When she gets home after a time, her father appears and inquires about everything. But the female just scurries away from him, gets into her car, and leaves. After that, she drives for hours on end. She continues to glance behind, as though someone is pursuing her. Even during this period, she finally makes a phone call to her family while at a beach. The girl desperately pleads them not to worry about her and how much she loves them. She waits for something on the beach after the call. The girl is discovered dead in the same location the following morning. This is a horrifying act of violence where her leg is twisted. The scene that follows takes place in a typical suburban neighborhood. Little Jay is swimming in her backyard pool. Jane doesn't appear interested in hanging out with her pals while they watch a movie indoors since she needs to get ready for her date. She meets Hugh, her date, at a movie theater in the evening. Hugh notices a weird woman standing by the entrance wearing a yellow dress while the two wait for the show to start. He asks Jay right away if she can see the woman, but she responds negatively. Hugh becomes uneasy at this point and requests that they leave. Unsure of what to say, Jay presses Hugh for an explanation, to which he merely replies that he's not feeling well. The two then decide to call it a night and head off. Jay is discussing the date with her pal the following morning. She makes it obvious that she likes Hugh and says that she would like to date him. They go out again that same night. While they are having dinner at a restaurant, a shadowy figure walks steadily towards Hugh. Later, the couple takes Hugh's car to a remote location where they enjoy a romantic moment. But before Jay can put her clothing back on, Hugh unexpectedly leaps out from behind her. He renders her unconscious by chloroforming her. Jay finds herself strapped to a wheelchair in an abandoned parking lot. The next thing she knows, Hugh apologizes and swears he won't harm her. He then divulges the reason behind his actions. It turns out that he is being followed everywhere he goes by an enigmatic force. The whole story began when he had sex with a girl and was cursed by her. Hugh goes on to say that having sexual relations with someone is the only method to spread the curse. Finally, he says that since the entity can take on any shape, it is impossible to determine if it is real. Jay begins yelling for assistance, clearly not believing him. Hugh, however, rolls her over to the building's edge and reveals the thing to her. Jane notices a strange woman approaching her slowly and in total lack of clothing. Hugh informs her that in order to pass on her curse, she must sleep with another person. She will be killed, nevertheless, if the thing finds her. Hugh then drives her back to her friend's place, where he dumps her off. Then, in order to avoid being discovered, he leaves the area. Jay's pals quickly come to her aid. When the police are called, Jay is questioned about what transpired. Because Hugh had been going by a false name, the police look into the matter but are unable to locate him. In class the following day, Jay spots an elderly woman out in the distance. She is only wearing a nightgown, so she looks really uncomfortable. Interestingly, she goes unnoticed by the rest of the class. Jay becomes quite alarmed upon realizing that the woman is the entity. She quickly collects her luggage and heads out, only to run into the same woman in the corridor. She flees the school, terrified, and goes to a shop where her friends Kelly and Paul work. Paul offers to go with her to her house that evening, but her friends don't think anything of it, as was to be expected. We learn that Paul is desperate to be with Jay and will stop at nothing to win her over. Everyone in the group decides to go with Jay after witnessing his bravery in order to make her feel secure. Jay finds it difficult to go asleep that night because she is paranoid. When she slips downstairs, she discovers Paul enjoying a movie. He attempts to reassure her, telling her that everything will work out, but she ignores him. They hear the kitchen window smash just then. Paul visits the location but finds nothing there. He then goes upstairs and wakes everyone else because he is scared. Jay is left alone downstairs in the interim. She makes the decision to examine the kitchen on her own. She is horrified to see a scarred woman eerily limping in her direction. Jay storms upstairs, shuts the door behind her, and goes to her friend's room. Though everyone attempts to soothe her, Jay is still traumatized. Her companions are still not persuaded, even when she at last accepts that she has been cursed. One of them finally chooses to open the door after some time, and the empty corridor is visible. At first, Jay is relieved, believing that she is just having a hallucination. However, just then, her friend is followed by an abnormally tall man. She lets out a scream and bolts onto the balcony through the bedroom window. The following scene finds Jay riding her bike to a nearby park, where her friends try to console her. When they notice that Jay is becoming suspicious, the group decides to find Hugh in order to obtain some information. After locating his address, the crew arrives at the location only to discover it is deserted. Relentlessly searching, they eventually stumble upon old pictures and other hints that lead them to Hugh's high school. They eventually locate his real address at the school, where they discover he goes by Jeff. They show up at his residence without any delay and confront him. After a one-night stand, Jeff apologizes right away and says that the same thing was done to him. He admits that the curse exists and that passing it on is the only way to break free. After learning this, Jay and her companions are taken aback and make the decision to flee as quickly as possible. They then start jotting down possible sites, and one of them recommends a lakeside home owned by a friend. They all decide to go there since Jay thinks the idea is fantastic. The group having the time of their lives at the lake house as the days go by, forgetting all of their problems. That is, until a weird woman shows up behind Jay one day. She is the death entity, nothing more. Everyone looks shocked as the woman snatches Jay by the hair. Paul tries to help his friend, but he is limited in his actions because he cannot see the creature. The creature throws him away when he tries to swing a chair in an erratic manner. The group then hides out in a nearby shed. Jay pulls a rifle and fires at the thing, but the damage he does is little at best. She locks and slams the shed door in terror. The thing, to everyone's surprise, kicks in the door and makes a hole in the bottom. When Jay gets closer to the hole, she is frightened by a young child with a marked face. She waits but sees nothing come through. This indicates that the object has changed shape to make itself fit into the opening. Thankfully, Jay escapes the shed and climbs into her vehicle. Then, in her haste to get away, she smashes into a cornfield because she is so terrified. The following scene finds Jay waking up in the hospital, surrounded by her friends. She finds out from her friends that she must stay there for a few days after suffering a minor injury. Jay becomes frightened upon hearing this because she thinks the creature is going to corner her in the hospital. Her friends, however, reassure her that they will be there for her and help her to relax. Jay knows she can put a stop to all of this at this precise moment. She only needs to spread the curse by having sex with someone. Fortunately, Greg consents to carry it out with her since he still rejects the curse and wants her to feel normal. In the hospital bed that evening, the two share a magical moment. A few days later, Jay, keeping an eye on Greg's residence, witnesses an intruder breaking in via his front window. Astonished to discover that she is still able to see the thing, Jay quickly phones Greg to warn him. She has to hurry over to his place because, regrettably, there is no response. She discovers the thing upstairs knocking on Greg's bedroom door while posing as his mother. Greg unlocks the door and dies horribly despite Jay's best efforts to warn him. Jay bolts from the house in terror and heads out of the car. She is aware that the creature has resumed its pursuit of her. She runs as far away as she can to the beach, terrified and stunned by what she has just witnessed. She approaches some boys there in an attempt to get them to engage in sexual activity. At the last minute, though, she decides against it and heads back home. Jay receives an offer from Paul the next day to help. Declaring his affection for her, he adds that if it means keeping her safe, he would be prepared to accept the curse. But Jay declines this time, instead devising a scheme to finally eliminate the creature. Subsequently, the pals who are still alive drive to a neighboring swimming pool and commit theft. With the intention of shocking the pool water, they have brought along a variety of electrical devices. Waiting in the pool for the creature, Jay serves as bait. She sees it entering after some time. As the thing begins tossing electrical objects into the pool, their strategy, however, fails miserably. There appears to be intelligence in the thing. Jay naturally begins to freak out and dives beneath the surface to escape the onslaught of blows. Her companions rush to assist her as well, but they are unable to locate the thing. Paul pulls out a gun in the interim and attempts to shoot the thing. Under Jay's guidance, he inadvertently shoots one of his friends in the leg. One of the companions deftly tosses a blanket over the object while it keeps hurling things at Jay, allowing Paul to see where it is. The creature collapses in the pool when he instantly shoots it in the head. Jay tries to swim out of the pool, thinking that they have finally completed their task, but the creature picks her foot up again. It attempts to pull her down into the water so it may drown her. Fortunately, however, the brave Paul takes aim and fires at the thing many times, forcing it to release Jay at last. The group believes they have finally defeated the monster as a result of this. To their dismay, however, a weird red liquid begins to fill the pool. Their scheme has failed once more, and the creature is nowhere to be found. When Jay realizes it can't be killed, she has second thoughts and spends the night with Paul. He now bears the curse as a result of this. In the movie's climactic sequence, Paul roams the town in search of the ideal individual to transfer the curse to. He pulls over to speak with the two hookers after spotting them.